John Rambo now resides on his father's ranch with his close friend Maria Beltran and Gabrielle, who considers Rambo to be somewhat of an uncle. Rambo has struggled with PTSD since his previous conflict and is continually tortured by the images of murder and bloodshed. Additionally, he has started digging a network of tunnels underneath the ranch. Rambo agrees when Gabrielle requests permission to have a party in the tunnels with some of her friends. Gabrielle receives a call from her friend Jezzel, who claims to know something about Gabrielle's long-lost father Miguel. Rambo, who is familiar with the man, hears her out and tells Gabrielle that she shouldn't have to hunt for a man who hasn't bothered to be involved in her life. He continues by saying that he is aware of how awful some guys can be and that pursuing him would only harm her. This discussion continues the following morning when Gabrielle challenges Maria to accompany her to Mexico in search of Miguel, who allegedly used to beat Gabrielle's mother before Rambo stepped in. Gabrielle drives to Mexico to meet with Jezzel even though she appears to be leaving for a nearby location. Gabrielle is guided by her to Miguel's home. He confronts her in private and vehemently informs her that he had no desire to be associated with either her or her mother. Gabrielle cries as she walks away, but Jezzel takes her to a club in an effort to cheer her up. There, Gabrielle converses with the man and enjoys a drink before he sneaks pills into it. Maria receives a call from Jezzel the following day informing her that Gabrielle has vanished. Rambo decides to search for Gabrielle on his own by traveling to Mexico. He visits Miguel at his home and threatens him by telling him that he should have broken his neck years earlier and that he is to blame for the entire situation. Rambo then finds Jezzel, and upon discovering that she is sporting Gabrielle's jewelry that belonged to her mother, swiftly deduces that she sold Gabrielle into trafficking. Gabrielle is then shown lined up with other young ladies who have been kidnapped and are being held as slaves by a cartel. Victor Martinez, one of the commanders, drags a woman who attempted to flee inside and threatens to kill them all if they attempt to flee once more. Jezzel is compelled by Rambo to accompany him to the club where she took Gabrielle. They see the man Gabrielle was chatting with there. A nearby woman called Carmen Delgado is watching Rambo. Following the man to his car, Rambo confronts him while brandishing his knife. When he continues to refuse to speak, Rambo strikes him hard in the shoulder with the butt end of the blade, stabs him in the leg, and then brutally breaks his bones by digging into the shoulder wound. Only then does the man tell where Gabrielle was taken. Rambo travels by car to the cartel's base, where he can be seen clearly. Carmen has also been following. Hugo, his gang of men, and Sergio Pires Mencheta, Victor's brother, accompany him. Rambo is surrounded by guys as he makes his way to the brothers. The brothers identify Gabrielle when he pulls out a photo of her. Hugo threatens Rambo with harming Gabrielle as he came out for her after the gang severely beats Rambo. Rambo is then marked by Victor by having a V cut out of his cheek and left for dead. Carmen saves him, but the brothers then torment Gabrielle. Rambo regains health in Carmen's home over the course of the following few days, while Gabrielle is coerced into prostitution while also receiving constant drugging. Maria's only option in the interim is to wait around for Rambo and Gabrielle to show up. When Rambo finally awakens, Carmen informs him that her sister was slain after being abducted by the cartel operated by the Martinez brothers. Since then, she has been looking into them in an effort to take them out. Rambo gets preparing to retrieve Gabrielle. Rambo breaks into a brothel and kills the owners as well as a number of unfortunate patrons. He commands the women to flee, but they all object, claiming that fleeing will result in their deaths. Gabrielle is barely aware when he locates her room. Rambo manages to free her. When the Martinez brothers subsequently discover the location, they realize that Rambo is to blame for the murders of all of their soldiers. Hugo receives criticism from Victor for not executing Rambo earlier. Rambo tries to explain to Gabrielle that she has given him hope in the years since he returned home and that he loves her dearly as they make their way back to Arizona. Gabrielle tragically passes away shortly after giving in to the overdose of narcotics. When Rambo gets home in the morning, he has to tell Maria the bad news. In the backyard, Rambo and Maria bury Gabrielle. Rambo is informed by Maria that she is leaving the house to be with her sister and that she would be unhappy till the day she dies. Now driven by resentment and a desire for retribution, Rambo starts to set up traps all over the ranch and rig the tunnels. He goes back to Mexico to ask Carmen for assistance in locating Victor. She is initially apprehensive since she doesn't believe anything good would result from it, but Rambo persuades her that these individuals are to blame for the deaths of people they both cherished. After finding Victor's house, Rambo kills every man he encounters on the way to Victor. When Hugo gets there, he discovers Victor's decapitated, bloody body on the bed with a photo of Gabrielle stabbed into his chest. Then Rambo is seen turning around and throwing Victor's head onto the road. Hugo and his men are ready for war. They travel to Rambo's ranch, where he is waiting for the cartel. One of the booby traps blows up the first vans that enter the site. As the remaining men try to storm the tunnels, they are either crushed by C4 explosives or impaled by other traps. Rambo prowls in the shadows, blasting any men he comes across and slicing them in half with his blade. As Hugo continues to lose soldiers, Rambo approaches him and uses the radio to warn him that his time is running short. Hugo escapes and enters the barn as Rambo blows up the tunnels to bury all of the surviving men underground. Unluckily for him, Rambo is standing by and shoots Hugo with 4 arrows to force him up against the wall. Hugo metaphorically tore out Rambo's heart, and now Rambo will practically do the same to him, says Rambo as he approaches him. Before Hugo passes away, he makes a deep cut in his chest with his blade before removing and displaying his heart to him. After the battle, Rambo, who is hurt, retires to his rocking chair. His voiceover declares that although he is now alone because everyone he has ever loved has passed away, he will keep fighting to preserve their memories.